Hey, what's going on guys, this is AndrewChicken and welcome back to another video. It's the start of a new year, and with Season 6 on the horizon, now is a great time to pick up Paladins and start learning some new champions. So in this video, I'll be going over some strong and fun champions that are great in the meta right now. If you're a new or returning player who wants to know who's good in 2023, this video will have some great champion recommendations for you. I'll be discussing a few of the top picks in each class, so there's a little something for everybody. Now before we get started, you should bear in mind that this video may be inaccurate if you're watching this months or years after its release, since the game gets updated frequently. This video is also just my well-informed opinion. You can do well with most champions in this game if you spend enough time mastering them, so don't feel bad if your favorite champion doesn't get mentioned here. I also won't be going into extreme detail about how to play any of these champions, so if you're looking for a guide on how to play anyone mentioned here, I strongly recommend searching for videos on my channel about a specific character to see if I have any build showcases or guides for them. I'll be making plenty of build showcases and guides in Season 6, so make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on any of the upcoming content. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. First up, let's talk about tanks. Most tanks are really good at the moment, but some tanks stand out even among all these amazing options. If you're not playing Ruckus in 2023, you should really consider giving him a try. Ruckus is one of the strongest off-tanks in the game because he's basically just a big flank. He has the best mobility in the frontline class because it's fast and omnidirectional, which enables him to exploit the map to his advantage far better than most other characters. He also has some of the best damage in the tank class, being able to kill targets incredibly quickly with his high DPS miniguns and missiles. And just like Red Wine and Steak, Ruckus pairs excellently with many of the powerful flank champions we'll be discussing later. However, if you want someone more beefy and supportive, look no further than Rom. Rom is like Ruckus in many ways. They have basically the same weapon and are off-tanks in the truest sense of the term. However, Rom has way more brawn than Ruckus, and he also has the best healing capabilities in the frontline class. Subservience gives Rom a percent-based global heal, allowing him to consistently heal all allies no matter where they are. If that sounds busted, that's because it is. Rom can even out-heal true supports if played in the right situation. Both of these tanks are true off-tanks though, which means they're not great when played alone. They should always be paired with a second tank on the team, usually some sort of point tank or an off-tank with a barrier. And if you're looking for the best point tanks, Fernando and Barrick will never let you down. These two are not only the most mechanically easy tanks in Paladins, but they're some of the most dependable for holding an objective and defending their team. Barrick is one of the sturdiest tanks and has some good damage output, and Fernando can be played more aggressively than other point tanks to make space for his team and even frag out. Fernando is especially great as an entry-level tank due to his ease of use, and can be some good fun as well. There are two more tanks to mention before we move on to the next class. Makoa is a sort of hybrid tank with his talent Half Shell, since he's an insanely good off-tank who can also hold the point better than most off-tanks can. Makoa's hook remains one of the best displacement abilities in the game, and if it lands, it often results in a kill. Or, if you just want to become a one-man army and do everything yourself, there's always Azan. Many people quit the game when Azan released because he was too overpowered, but I can assure you now that that's no longer the case. Azan is still extremely good though, boasting some incredible staying power in a fight with his cards and passive damage reduction. He also has some incredible mobility with his ultimate and conviction, and his crowd control is amazing when the wall collisions decide to work. Azan is overall one of the most dependable jack-of-all-trades tanks in the game. Next, let's move on to the damage class. Since we were just talking about jack-of-all-trades characters with Azan, let's keep up that trend and talk about Bomb King. Bomb King is at the top of the meta right now because of his ability to do well in most situations. He has good mobility with his Poppy Bomb, and he has some of the most impressive movement speed in the game with the cards Shock and Awe. Bomb King also has some of the most consistent damage in the game with Royal Subjects, and can kill most enemies incredibly quickly. His sustain can also be very high with the right cards, and he's overall a great champion to master as long as your ping is good. Tyra is another amazing damage champion right now due to her powerful tank busting potential and her supporting capabilities with Hunting Party. Hunting Party enables Tyra to share her increased weapon damage on Hunter's Mark with the rest of her team, so high DPS champions like Octavia will do even more damage to whoever is marked. With some good team play, Tyra's Mark is extremely powerful. She's also one of the beefier DPS champions, and her ability to melt every tank in the game speaks for itself. Sati is another dependable damage champion who is capable of a lot. She has the best cover denial in the game with her coin and wallbang. She has great consistent hit scan damage with her primary fire, and has two forms of escape with her Decoy and Blastback. Blastback is an even more useful tool with the talent Window of Opportunity, since it sends enemies to the moon and allows Sati to score some easy predictable hits. Sati is one of the most resistant damage champions to being flanked, but a champion who can devastate every mobile flank with some good aim and practice is Sha Lin. Sha Lin boasts some truly jaw-dropping bursts when using Sand Trap in tandem with Rapid Shot, and the cripple from his crippling arrow can really mess up the movements of any mobile flank who comes his way. This champion is much less forgiving than the others I've just mentioned, but in the right hands, he's a beast. If instead you want to blast out a room and make the objective a very dangerous place to stand, look no further than Betty La Bamba. She just keeps getting buffed for some reason, and her most recent buff to her primary fire makes her an incredibly potent damage champion if you can hit her slow arcing shots. Her spamming capabilities are truly unmatched, as her Hail Bomb and Cluster Bomb provide consistent pressure and damage in an area that doesn't take 2 seconds to explode like someone else's spam. If Bomb King isn't available, Betty La Bamba is my go-to pick on Ice Mines. Now that we're done with the damage class, let's check out some supports. There are a lot of solid, fun options to master, starting with the pinnacle of balanced support design in Paladins, Maldamba. Damba has a little bit of everything: good healing that can be spread out across multiple teammates or concentrated into one target, great crowd control that's very consistent when mastered, an excellent movement ability, and surprisingly competent damage. He's not too strong in any department, and he's extremely rewarding to master. If you're looking for a fun support, Maldamba is your snake. However, if you want someone who is actually stupendously strong, have a look at Furia. Furia is one of the few supports who is capable of carrying not just in healing, but by getting kills and contributing to the team fight as well. She does some of the best damage in the support class that ramps up based on how much healing she does, and her burst heal scales very well into late game because Furia only needs a split second out of Cauterize to fully heal someone. Her stun is very good with a bit of practice at targeting it, but the cherry on top of her whole kit has to be her ultimate. Furia's ultimate is one of the best ultimates in the entire game and can be used to turn a whole team fight in her favor. It provides her entire team with a massive damage and movement speed buff, giving them a major advantage against whoever they attack. With good timing, this ultimate is godlike. If you're not looking to carry your team but instead just want an easy entry-level support to start out on, then you should instead play Furia's twisted sister, Saris. Saris has one of the easiest kits to use in the support class, and is excellent for learning the role. Her healing is powerful and consistent, and she has some great survivability with her shadow travel. Just make sure to use Veil 5, otherwise it won't be as reliable. There are many other good supports that are worth a try, but the last one we're going to talk about in this video is Grover. Grover provides a lot of utility to his team and is amazing with a bit of practice. He has the most consistent healing in the game, since all he has to do to heal is exist. He also has good burst healing, which can be consistently spammed out with the right cards. This healing also goes through walls, meaning line of sight is not a requirement for Grover like it is with so many other supports. Grover is also a beast when it comes to damage, since he can pump out damage the entire match without ever having to be interrupted by a channeled heal. To top it all off, Grover has the best mobility in the support class when making use of Vine Tech, which can triple the distance traveled with his Vine. To do Vine Tech, you first need to hold down the Vine button over something you can Vine to, like this tree. Then, release the button and quickly flick to a platform much farther away that you can't normally Vine to. And just like that, you've traveled halfway across the map in seconds. If you want to practice this powerful technique, keep in mind that it doesn't work in the shooting range, so try it out in a custom match instead. And since we're talking about powerful movement abilities, let's move on to our final class, the Flank class. There are many dominant flanks in Paladins at the moment who can be a blast to play, and all of them pair excellently with the recently buffed kill to heal that ignores Cauterize. So let's get started with our first flank, Androxus. Androxus is an excellent flank for beginners and pros alike. He's got a high skill ceiling, but is also one of the best flanks to dip your toe into the world of high mobility flanks. He's got consistent and powerful damage and mobility, and he's also got good survivability with his reversal. As long as your aim is good, you'll get value out of Androxus, which makes him not only one of the strongest flanks in the game, but also a great starting ground for new flank players to get familiar with the game sense and flick shots necessary for high skill flank gameplay. Andro is very well rounded and an excellent addition to your flank lineup. A similar yet more skillful alternative to Androxus is Vatu. Vatu has far better mobility than Androxus at the cost of no defensive ability, and he also has a powerful burst combo with his kunai and shadow bombs. He's one of many projectile flanks, which means aiming is a bit more work than with a traditional hit-scan weapon. Vatu is much more dependent on having good game sense, map knowledge, timing, and aim than Androxus, but can be even more rewarding in the hands of a master. He's extremely fun, and I'd recommend playing him if you're up for the challenge. One thing both both of these flanks lack is range, and that's where one slippery cat burglar peeks her head in to cut them both down. Maeve is another high mobility flank who is extremely rewarding and fun to play, and while she's also a projectile champion like Vatu, she has far superior range. Her shots are fast, have no fall off, and no spread, meaning she is much more capable of fighting at a distance than most other flanks. Her mobility is among the best, allowing her to get out of dodge and choose fights better than most. Moving away from high mobility flanks, let's talk about the rising star of the flank class, Caspian. Caspian is in a much better state than he was on release, since he's no longer as clunky and has received some powerful buffs. Measured Cadence now has the ability to use all of the rogue's tempo cards, so with a build like this, Caspian can ramp up stacks incredibly quickly, spam his movement ability like crazy, and never have to reload as long as he's hitting his shots, all while maintaining that juicy 60% movement speed buff. His close quarters burst is almost unparalleled, and his stun is the win condition that can easily secure him a kill. Or if Caspian wants to evaporate a few players, he can pop ult and start slashing, resulting in some of the most satisfying kills you've ever seen. Caspian has risen to become one of the best flanks in the game with sufficient mastery, and is definitely worth a try. Lastly, I am legally obliged as an Eevee main to tell you that Eevee is the most fun champion in the game, period, and that no other champion is more rewarding to play than her. She has incredible mobility and a powerful yet simple kit that results in an infinite skill ceiling and an incredibly high skill floor. She's not a champion made for beginners, but if you're already comfortable on flanks like Androxus, she's someone who you can branch out to and have a lot of fun with. She might seem blatantly unfun when you're learning her, but once you make that first smooth play with her, you'll realize how incredibly fun she can be to master. I am definitely not addicted to playing Eevee, and I definitely don't need help. But with that being said, that's going to be the end of this video. Hopefully you found these champion suggestions to be helpful for learning who is strong and fun here at the start of 2023. If you guys have enjoyed, of course make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more content like this from me, and also check out my Twitch channel and Discord server linked in the description below. Thank you guys very much for watching, I will see you all next time, peace out.